People don't understand how could this guy be so fascinating, so dynamic, so inspirational, and all that stuff.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Hey, there we go. I got the finger. You guys are ready for this? This is going to be another show for the November 28th, 2023. I'll be Keith, and this will be the B-roll. Understand something. The show is going to be about, what's the title? The Real Conservative Republicans versus the RINO Republicans.
RINO. Oh, that's a big word.
They came up with it. You know what the acronym means? The acronym is Republicans in name only, which is kind of weird because they're talking about people who are lifelong Republicans, and most of these people who are these RINOs, guess what? They just recently joined the party. It's like Trump says a RINO. Okay, you've only been a Republican for like, 15 years. A lot of these people. Anyway, I deviate. But anyway, it's the real conservative.
You divert.
I divert. I deviate. I divert. Okay, I gotta look that word up. Now you got me good thinking. The real conservatives, right? The real conservatives versus the RINOs. Okay. What do I mean by that? Because you have real conservative Republicans. These are the original ones, like from 1950. Sorry, 19. I said 1954. I keep saying 19. Why I keep saying 19?
19. That was, that's 23 years ago at least.
19. No.
24 years ago. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's 18. 18.
18.
18. Yes, I keep saying 19. It's 18. What is it? 1854 or something like that. Where
you going way back?
Yeah, the Republican Party. That's what it's about. The Republican Party, the original Republican Party, the original that was started up with Abraham Lincoln. And the reason why is because the last time we was talking about was the Republican news, Republican press. And I was like, yeah, the Republican press has been around for a long time. So, and that goes back to like 1824. Because the Republican Party, the original party, as y'all know, was the Democratic/Republican Party. That's what it was. And it was founded by, who was it? Thomas Jefferson and James Madison in 1792. Yeah, 1792.
Man, you're really good with the dates today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You even got the right century and everything.
Yes. Yeah. What?
What?
I don't know about what is it, the 17th century, 1920? Oh, that's the 19th century, right? Because we 1 century behind or whatever. So anyway, so it was one party until about 1820, where they separated and they started, the faction. They had the Democratic Party evolved to what it was today. Well, sort of what it was today because it evolved in the North and the South, but you had two different perspectives. You had segue, not yet, but I'm going to bring it up. You had this, remember I said all the time, liberals in the North, conservatives in the South. And I've been talking about the Republican Party in general. I mean, not the Republican, the Democratic Party. Liberals in the North, conservatives in the South, right? But also, we have Republican Party. We have conservatives, and we had liberals, liberal Republican Party for a minute there, in like the late 1800s. But yeah, the Republican Party after it was started with who was it? I think Lincoln and 1844, somewhere around there. It started with Lincoln and a bunch of guys, right? What was that? No, the Republican press started in 1824, not the Republican Party. The Republican press, and that started in Springfield, Massachusetts. Massachusetts, right? I thought so. Springfield, Massachusetts, right? Massachusetts.
It's a tongue twister.
What's that thing? Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. Not Worcestershire.
Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah. For those who can't say it like us, right? It started in 1824. That's when the first Republican press was put out. That's Springfield, Massachusetts, right? And that was like a weekly paper. And in 1844, it became a daily paper, right? So that's like one of the oldest. That is the oldest Republican press, really, generated by Republicans, right? So I said it to say this: the conservatives in the South, Democratic, liberals in the North. So what does that have to do with the Republican Party? Well, here we go. The Republican Party, those conservatives, the ones who actually spearheaded the abolition movement, right? And the war, the Civil War, right? Founded by Lincoln and a few other people. Those individuals were true conservatives. They believed in small government, believe it or not, they believed in small government and physical equity. That's what you hear the people talking about today, right? The RINOs. That's why I said the RINOs, who like to call other people RINOs. But in fact, they're the RINOs, the leaders of the Republican Party right now, the leaders of the Republican, the main leaders of the Republican Party are RINOs. Right? They're not real conservatives. The conservatives are the ones who are truly sitting back and allowing them to run roughshod because they're winning elections. Well, they were winning elections. Now all of a sudden they're not winning elections, and so the figurehead behind that is Don. I was going to say it was Dumb Donald, but
that's not very nice.
It's not very nice, but that's what his former lawyer kept saying. It got stuck in my head. Dumb Donald, and Chris Christie, I think. Yeah, that's your man.
Chris Christie called him Dumb Donald.
I know.
That's my
Michael
boy.
Cole. Yeah. So Jersey, New York. We got the act. We say what we're going to say, and we say it, and that's what we say. That's how it is, right? You see The Sopranos, okay? Right? Well, you got both. So you got the New York version, and you got the Jersey version of them, right? We got both of them. So anyway, now people are starting to look at him. His donors are leaving him, right? They're actually leaving, and they're leaning more towards mainstream conservatives again, like a Nikki Haley. Apparently, the Koch brothers. And the Koch brothers, that's a lot of money. That's money right there. They have backers and all that stuff, and they're starting to back Nikki Haley, right? So what I was saying, oops, I'm falling apart here. Okay, we're falling apart here.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
And was that a phone on vibrate? Was that what that was?
It's on vibrate.
We were talking about that just earlier.
I was just talking about that, right?
And I told you the sign wasn't going to work. Okay.
What do you mean the sign wasn't going to work?
Well, you know what? Even though it's on its side, it actually looks
cool, right?
fine on camera. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Anyway.
Did you take your phone off of vibrate?
I bet you I'm not going to get no correction on this. Watch. I'm not going to get no correction. I'm going to put it on the airplane mode. I'm not going to get correction on this time. This is a work in progress. Thank you. So yeah, like I was saying, now it seems like everybody's going to Nikki Haley, and it does evangelical, a big, highfalutin evangelical preacher, minister, whatever, pastor is supporting Ron DeSantis. So things are starting to go towards what people consider to be more of the mainstream conservative, and that's what they are. But they're supposed to be fiscally responsible, which we can all agree this party hasn't been in the last 40 years. And I said again, and this is no knock against Ronald Reagan. I like Ronald Reagan, but the fact is, when he took over, the budget. This budget that they're talking about, the debt, the national debt, just blew up. that was really cool.
Did you like that?
The national debt just blew up. It blew up a lot.
I don't have an explosion.
No. The double hit it with a double. There we go. All right, that's cool. That was cool. You caught me. Yeah, stop it. You caught me off guard with that one. He was just waiting.
I was waiting.
He went through like 30 different tools, and that one he didn't do until right now, which is right on the money. So yeah. What was I talking? Oh, Ronald Reagan. Yeah, Ronald Reagan. The national debt just blew up because I was telling you since Harry S. Truman, the one who I couldn't get. That was FDR's third vice president, right? Harry S. Truman was FDR's third vice president, and from FDR's third term through Harry S. Truman, it went from $3 trillion, right? The national debt after the World War One, World War Two, the Great Depression, everything had built up to like $3 trillion. That's how much the national debt was. Between those presidents, FDR, Harry S. Truman, and Eisenhower, which was a conservative, which was truly a conservative president, truly a Republican conservative, a real conservative Republican president, right? Through JFK, two terms of Eisenhower. Then JFK, what happened? He was assassinated. So who's the other guy that took his?
Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson took over. Finished off his first term and did his second. Did a term of his own. I don't think he ran for a second one. He could have ran for 2 terms because he was only there.
He elected not to.
He elected not to, but he could have ran.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was fed up.
He was fed up. He passed everything off to Richard Nixon, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Richard
Tricky
Nixon,
Dick.
Tricky Dick and Richard Pryor, right? Hey, you know, Richard Pryor, yeah, Tricky Dick. And so, like I was saying, between Eisenhower's second term through Kennedy, Johnson, Richard Nixon Ford, because Nixon didn't make his, he didn't make it through his second term. Nixon Ford. Then it was Carter. That was 28 years? Mm-hmm. That's like 28 years of the national debt, our national debt, which is a budget of $2.5 trillion. It varied $1 billion, a couple $100 billion, $100 billion here, drop here and there, but it's around $2.5 trillion for nearly 28 years. Then Ronald Reagan came in with that trickle-down economics. Sounds familiar? When you describe it, when you look at it, it sounds just like Trumponomics. Give the tax breaks to the very wealthy, and they'll take care of it. They'll take care of everything. They'll take care. We gotta work on that timing. And they'll take care of everything, right? So yeah. So Ronald Reagan actually added like almost $1 trillion to the national debt. When he finished, the national debt was at nearly $3.5 trillion, right? Somewhere around there. And then George H.W. Bush, don't get it mixed up. That was it. Bush 42. George Bush's father, he added another like $800 billion to the national debt. Wow. In one term, $800 billion. You think that would blow everybody's head up? Well, it didn't. It didn't. So after that, Bill Clinton took over, balanced the budget, but the national debt was still increasing, right? A lag over from 12 years of, non-conservative. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna have to rethink.
You're getting flustered.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink this because George H.W. Bush, George Bush's father, he was pretty conservative. He was pretty conservative, like regular conservative, like real conservative Republican, right? So, but he was handed the debt, the problems that Ronald Reagan had built up. So he had to deal with that. So I'm going to acknowledge him as a real Republican, a real conservative Republican. All right. After that, we know Bill Clinton took over, and he balanced the budget. After the second, somewhere around the middle of his first term to the end of his first term, he had balanced the budget. And he handed George W. Bush, right? The economy. Well, you guys handed it to him, and he just.
Who's you guys?
Whoever voted for George Bush. Whoever voted. I mean, hey, he seemed like a nice guy, right? And people were saying, not to deviate. People were like, yeah, he's like the type of guy I like to have a drink with. And I'm like, dude, I don't want the type of guy I want to have a drink with me running the country. I don't even want to run my business, let alone the country. And that's what he did. He ran it like the guy, that you sit down and have a beer with. And he ended up with all this national debt. I forget how much he had. He had like another in his 8 years, like what, 3 or 4 trillion, maybe $6 trillion. Yeah, around $6 trillion. You want to look that up, or should I look it up? No, go.
I was actually just gonna make an adjustment, but you keep talking.
Okay. Maybe you want to turn. Okay, you know I'm distracted. Anyway, I'm okay. What was I gonna say? Yeah, he had like his next $1 trillion. Let's see how much. Let's see. Hold on for a second. I wanna. Now you do what you wanna do.
What do you want me to look up?
Bush. George W. Bush. George W. Bush. I don't know why you didn't just leave it up there on the table. We're gonna edit this out. Why you throw the thing around? I can't see myself.
Sorry. What do you want to see yourself for?
It's like the screen that people look at, the scrolling screen. People look at the screen, they reading their speech and stuff, and they pretend that it's like all natural. Yeah. No, you get the natural thing right here, man. This is off the cuff. What was I saying? I didn't see the arm in the camera. I didn't see it. Yeah. Work in progress, like I said, right? Work in progress. Bush, how much Bush add to the George W. Bush add to the national debt?
You want me to look that up?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You keep talking.
Okay, we're gonna find that out. But he had the X amount of trillions of dollars, and then Barack Obama came in, and President Obama came in. He had to clean up that mess. And well, it was a lag thing. It really was. It was a lag thing. People don't want to acknowledge that when if somebody you lend somebody your car, and they ding it up, you got to get it fixed, right? Before you can ride it. If you get it smashed up, you got to get fixed before you can ride it, right? Drive it again. And that's what happened. He smashed up the economy. So when the American people took it over again, because he wasn't working for the American people, he was working for some of the American people. He was working for that 7 million. I think it was 7 million millionaires and 770 billionaires. Oh, and centi millionaires. The 3,000 and 3,500 centi millionaires. I forget those numbers. I went over those numbers a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's who he's working for, right? Trickle down economics. Didn't work under Ronald Reagan. Didn't work under George Bush. All right, he added X amount of trillions of dollars to the budget, and then there was a lag effect. For those who don't know, who don't remember, who don't want to remember, I'm going to bring you up to speed. We were headed into a Great Recession. Right?
What year was this? Remind the audience.
The recession was from, I have to say, 2005.
6, 7, yeah.
6, 7, 8,
Mm-hmm.
9, 9, because that was part of that recession, right? That's when they was telling you that the world's gonna come to hell. It's apocalypse is coming now. Blah, blah, blah. They want to put all the blame on the black guy, right? But the thing is that, yeah, it was terrible. Unemployment rate amongst across the board was crazy for black and African American, for Latino, Hispanic and Latino, and white. Now, if if the unemployment rate is bad for white people, you know how bad it is for everybody else. And the unemployment for white people was like 10.5%. Latinos was 12 and 14, and African American was like 18. Okay, so that gives you an idea. So that's what Barack Obama inherited. So when you hear all these clowns want to come out and talk about this smack about Barack Obama, look, I ain't saying nobody's an angel, all right? But I'm telling you, the man, him and Joe Biden, got it done. At the end of his term, I think the unemployment rate, he handed the unemployment rate over to, when he handed over the economy to Dumb Donald, I'm going to go there, Dumb Donald. You know what? I'm going to call him whatever I want. He don't care. He'll talk about your mother. He'll talk about you. He'll call you this.
I'm sure he has a few choice words for you.
Yeah, he's going to have a few choice words for me. He's like a petulant little child. like a petulant little punk child. He's not even a tough guy. Oh, I'm tough. You ain't tough, man. I see you turn around. I see your backside. That ain't the backside of a tough guy, man. That's the backside of a piece of lard.
Hey, he's 6'2" and 215 pounds.
He's 6'2" and 215 pounds, and your nightmare, and your dream, his sweetest dreams, that don't even happen. He'll barely go under 290. I mean, this guy he's a fat piece of lard. You know what he called Chris Christie? Well, that's him, right? You know, we talk about who's the other heavyset guy? Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis isn't heavyset.
Ron DeSantis kind of stocky.
I wouldn't call him.
Maybe
I call him a lot of things, but I wouldn't call him.
Yeah, you don't think he's stocky? I think he's stocky. Look him stand up against other people. Well, anyway, Chris Christie, who's that? There was somebody else he was talking about their weight and stuff like that. But if you look at him, he ain't no Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. Dude, the guy is not that. Anyway, back what I was saying. Dumb Donald. Okay, he took it over. A lot of people want you to believe that he took over this terrible economy, which is BS. Before he took it over, it was being touted as the best economy. Before this economy, before the Joe Biden economy, Biden-Harris economy, it was touted. The Barack Obama, Joe Biden economy was touted as the best economy in 40 and 50 years, right? That's how good it was. Unemployment at 10.5% for white folk went down like 9, like right under 5%. So that's great. For black folk went down to like 7%, 7.5%. Hispanic like 6%. It was great. All right. He got a great economy. Inflation was brought under control. I didn't really go over inflation with in that time frame, but anyway, all those things was leveled out. The stock market when Obama took it over was like under 8,000. Right when he finished, it was almost 20,000 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. There was nothing but record breaking in the stock market. Remember, because I think Bill Clinton had it at 12,000, maxed it out at 12,000 before George Bush took it over and it tanked, right? So anything over 12,000 is a record. So for like 5 to 6 years, there was nothing but record numbers in the stock market. When I say the stock market, I want to be clear about this. I'm basing it on the Dow Jones, okay? There are multiple Dow Jones, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQs, the Amex. Okay, you got multiple, but I'm talking about basically the Dow Jones. But even though they all went up, but I don't have the time. That's like a 3-part series, you know, doing all the stock market adjustments.
You understand all that?
No, I don't understand that stuff. I just talk about it. I'm a talk show.
You talk about a lot of stuff you don't understand.
I'm a talk. Ouch. That's not true. I do understand. I understand the stock market. I just don't invest because I wasn't smart enough when I had the opportunity to invest. But yeah, it was nearly 20. It was nearly 20,000. Okay, when Donald Trump took over, right? And you want to hear it from me? I'm gonna tell you. I believe that the companies did that to stop it. The industry, the corporations did that because all of a sudden, when he got that close to capping 20,000, touching 20,000, all of a sudden something would go on. Oh, this sell over here, the gas prices, you know, those guys over there, the Saudis or somebody, somebody do something, and the stock market just drop it down just that much. And as soon as Donald Trump got in, took over, guess what? You got it. It hit 20,000. They said, "Oh, it's the greatest thing. It's a record breaking." The dude only been there. It only went up like less than 100 points, and they giving him credit for. I get frustrated. Anyway, like I was saying, with the Trump guy, he comes in. And he tanks this market. He came in. He got the second best economy in the last 50 years. Let's put it like that, because this is considered to be the best economy, regardless of what anybody said. This is considered to be the best economy. Unemployment.
It really rebounded after COVID, didn't it?
It did. It did. But here's the thing: it didn't need to get that bad. It didn't need to get that bad because what happened was that our leader right? The president of the United States lied to America. Him lying to the world, that's one thing, but he lied to America about the severity of the COVID virus. He knew how severe it was. And then you got the misinformation machine media over there, the Fox and the conservative and all that, whatever they want. I'm not gonna call them right wing. I could never call because they're always wrong. The wrong wing media over there. The other guys, they lied about everything. He said, yeah, no, it's nothing. It's, a common cold. First it was common cold, then it was the flu. Okay, it's no bad. It's no worse than the flu. More people died from the flu. But I can't recall a million people dying, hundreds of thousands of people dying in a month. 50, 60,000 people dying in a month with the flu. I can't remember that. That's way before my time. If it was happening, it was way before my time. And I'm, I don't want to date myself, but yeah.
You're an old man.
I used to watch the Peanuts. Yeah.
Watch
when
the Peanuts.
When they was original, the East Side Bowery Boys and stuff like that. Yeah. I remember Nat King Cole's first specials. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Ed Sullivan. You remember
Ed Sullivan. Oh,
yeah.
that was the man. Ed Sullivan. What was it? It's a really, really big shoe.
It's a really big shoe.
Yeah.
Really big shoe.
And it was shoe, not show. But shoe means, we went over there, right?
Yeah.
Shoe means show. Look in the Bible. Look at the King James version of the Bible, though. Not the new one, but the older one. Not the new translated one, but the older one. It's going to say shoe in there. They're talking about show. Anyway, yeah. So we are right now in one of the greatest economies ever. And like I said, when COVID hit, it didn't need to be that bad.
But are we, though? I mean, inflation's very high. And you hear a lot of people complain.
Yes.
But the economy's good because people are spending money.
Spending money. And here's the thing.
People are going on vacation. People are driving.
And here's the thing with inflation. People say it's bad, but the inflation average is like 3.9, 3.4. It's wavering between like under 4%. That's the average nationwide.
Yeah.
Here in Florida, you have places where inflation is 9%, 10%. It's like, hold up. We're missing everything. That's inflation. We're missing it. Here in Florida, you have places like right here in the Tampa Bay area, inflation is like 7, 8% or something like that. Then there's other places where it's like 10%. You go South Florida, outside of Miami, around those areas, inflation is like could be 11%, and from county to county. I didn't even realize that it worked like that. Like, hold up, what are you talking about? I understand state to state, but then county to county,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So inflation nationwide is actually low.
Back California's
a different. It's a different world.
country.
It's a different country. It's a different world, right? It's like I can't explain California, but even in California, people would think because of the negativity with California, because they have gas prices that are crazy. Like some places like $7.
Crazy. Well, I don't know if it's $7, but it's high.
$7, $8 in some locations, but then other locations is like national average.
Yeah.
Right. But people don't put that. It's like inflation. People don't put that information out. The good things, they put all the negative things out, and so the media don't really correct it. Just like when Donald Trump took over, they didn't correct him. They didn't correct anything. They said he's a liar, but they didn't say why he's lying when it came to the economy, because he took over the second best economy in the last 50 years. That's what's out there right now. That's what the stats are showing, right? So, Bureau of Labor and Statistics are showing you that the job rate is the best it's been in the last 54 years. That's crazy.
All the jobs came back after COVID.
They came back, and why? Because of the effort that was put into bringing jobs back. Because the concept, the idea of building up from the middle class out as opposed from trickle down economics. And we went over this, is that if you give me the money, give us the money, we're most likely to spend it. Are you rich? I don't even know. How rich are you? You're very rich.
I mean, I work. Okay. I work 40 hours a week.
So you work
I have to work.
Are you the average Joe?
I'm an average Joe.
Making under 200,000.
Absolutely.
Okay, average Joe. Okay, you're gonna give the average Joe, right? We want to say the average Joe. Let's say max $70,000, right? We're gonna still spend it, especially if we have other responsibilities like family, kids, and stuff like that. We're gonna spend that money. But if you give it to that what, at 2% or whatever, like 26. Some place I saw 22 million millionaires in America, and another place I saw like 7 million millionaires in America, somewhere over 7,500. 7,500 millionaires in America, and like 3,500 centimillionaires. Centimillionaires, the CENTI millionaires, or anybody that's worth over. I don't want to say worth because it makes like it's cheap in life and stuff like that. But if they have an account of $100 million to $999,999.99, if you're under that $1 billion mark, that you're a centimillionaire. So sorry, good timing. Good time. You're a centimillionaire, right? So if you give that money, and the combined total of these individuals are like 65. Ready for this? $65 trillion. That bunch of people worth $65 trillion. Now we have 150 million Americans working Americans, all working schmoes, schmoes and schmoyettes and whatever. And so,
schmoyettes.
I wouldn't be like sexist or nothing like that. I wouldn't leave them out. Right? I would call them a smo, and then HR get on my case. Why'd you call the women smos too? No, they're smoettes. We don't make that much. Our income is not that much, nowhere near that, right? So that being the case, giving them $2 trillion worth of tax breaks, right? $2 trillion worth of tax breaks a year or whatever. What they're gonna do with that money? They're gonna put it in the stock market. That's good for the stock market, good for the economy, right? Because it goes to the stock market. But it's not. I mean, it's good for the stock market. It's not really good for the economy. The economy is when they give it to us, to the average person. Because if you're giving me $10,000, like for my student loans or $20,000, and I get to go and look. I know it's not money, but I don't have to spend that money, so I'm gonna spend that money. you get it? I don't have to. I'm not. It's not gonna be like a $20,000 check, right, in my hand. No, they're gonna pay off $20,000 worth of debt, $10,000 worth of debt, but I don't have to pay that $20,000 or $10,000. So I'm gonna go spend some more money, right? And that's because it's me. But if you give it to the super rich, they're not gonna spend it. They're gonna go put it in the stock market where they're gonna make more money, and that's okay. But understand something. That's their money. Right, and that's okay. I'm not knocking them. I'm a capitalist at heart. I'm telling you, I am. I'm true capitalist at heart. So I'm not hating on them for that. I'm not hating them for their success. But once again, if you give it to the average person, right, working middle class American, if you give us that break, we're gonna put it back in the economy. Like 95%, 97%, because some of us are really good at it. Some of us is really good about saving money. But the large majority of us, I would say about 80%, we're going to put it back in the economy. And that's why we got it. People are now complaining, oh, people are spending too much money. Oh, this has been the most profitable Black Friday sales event that happened in the history.
Is that true?
Yeah, they say like $16 billion or whatever, however they measure it. Yeah, like $16-17 billion was spent, which is like 60% more than what it normally is. Wow. And still they complain. But the problem is people spending too much money. Hold up, what? What? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? So y'all can explain. Y'all can figure that out. Y'all,
well, people spending money they don't have.
Well, people spending money, but they have money, right? They're spending more money. So to say, it's the credit cards. Of course, people are always going to use credit cards, right? That's why the credit cards are there, right? Instead of putting what's that thing they used to have? You take it in, you put it on layaway. Instead of layaway, you use credit cards now, right? So see, I told you he was old too.
They still have layaway.
Yeah, I know. He's old too.
Yeah.
He don't want to tell you how long he knew about it though. So yeah. So that being the case, people spend a lot of money, right? They spend a lot of money, and you give us more money, we're gonna spend more money. That's how it is. And again, the very rich don't have to. When they do spend something, they're gonna spend on some luxury item, and their money, right? It's their money. They can spend it on whatever they want, right? As long as it's legal, go ahead and go for it, dude. You can afford to. So that's what happens. That's what happens. It doesn't come back into the economy like building out from the middle class up. So people got to look at that. People got to look at that. And that's what the problem is. When they talk about Democrats, Biden, and all that stuff, what happens is that it's messaging. And I've been saying this for like 20 years. Like maybe more than 20 years. I've been broadcasting on social media, on this platform and that platform. When I had the other ones, I didn't really keep up with them. But I was talking about the same thing about, hopefully I'll be able to find some of this stuff, access on some of those old accounts. How it's messaging. Messaging. Does that make sense? Messaging? Messaging suck?
What?
Messaging. Democrats, messaging.
Messaging.
It sucks. Democrats suck at messaging. I'm telling you. The local candidates, they suck at it, right? And they keep thinking, I brought this up before, I kept telling people, there's no such thing as a liberal media. That's a bunch of crap, BS, garbage. It's nothing, all right? That's a fantasy. There's no such thing as a liberal media. It's the mainstream media. And the ones who can utilize it the best are the ones who's going to, do well. And apparently, we don't have the capability, the intellectual capacity as a party to do that. I'm serious. I mean, if I'm running as a candidate, I'm gonna be everywhere. Fox, ABC, NBC.
Absolutely.
They don't want to talk to you. Oh, yeah. Yo. You know who I am? Dude, because you have your reps, right? You have the people, your manager, your campaign manager. Look, I want to interview over there. Well, that's Fox. Oh, good, cool. I want Fox. I want all of them. This is my segue. Yeah. So I did talk about the parties, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't talk a lot about them, right?
No.
Let me go back to the parties, and then I'll talk about that.
I got that information on national debt here, too.
What was the Bush?
Well, here, you want to take a look at it? It's very complicated. It breaks down every president and their...
Donald Trump. Whoa. Whoa. Holy dip. Oh, this is what I was saying about fiscal. Where did you get this from, man? Oh my gosh.
It's like suspenseful music.
Oh my gosh.
It's USA Today.
People, listen up to this. All right? And we went over this a few weeks ago, and I just went over it earlier, right? I didn't even see these. I saw a different graph or something else, but this is a lot more detail. Oh my goodness gracious. Holy news flash. Breaking news.
News.
Give me some breaking news sound. Okay, that's good. This goes back to William Howard Taft. We're not going to go that far back. Warren G. Harding, Calvin Coolidge. Oh, my gosh. Okay, let's go. Let's go to Roosevelt. All right, national debt. Roosevelt added $236 billion. Roosevelt, right? Harry S. Truman added $7 billion. That's with a B, right? Dwight Eisenhower added $22 billion, right? Yeah, ching ching. John F. Kennedy, just for the 2 years, $22 billion. Lyndon B. Johnson, from 63 to 69, that's his and Kennedy's administration, he added $42 billion. Richard Nixon, coming out of the Vietnam War. Remember, Vietnam War, remember that number, remember that incident. The Vietnam War, it's the Vietnam, right? Not the Korean, the Vietnam War, right?
Vietnam War, yeah.
Vietnam War, coming out the Vietnam War, he had $121 billion. Gerald Ford, continuing the trend of the Vietnam War thing, he added $223 billion. You hear these numbers? Okay, all right, okay. Jimmy Carter added $299 billion. Okay. You heard what I just said. Jimmy Carter added $299 billion. We don't need the dollar sign. $299 billion. Right? Now, let's talk about Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan. The national debt averaged out, even though they had those numbers going up and down, it averaged out about to $2.5 trillion. Right? That was what, 5, 6, 7 presidents, right?
Yeah.
Now, Ronald Reagan, in his 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
2 terms.
2 terms, right? 2 terms. It should have been 2 years. Oh my God. $1.86 trillion. We no longer talking billion. Yes. George H.W. Bush, in his 4 years, added $1.5 trillion in 4 years.
Well, we got stuck. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, that was something right there. 4 years, that was a biggie. Clinton added $1.4 trillion in his 2 terms. Yeah, we gotta be fair.
Yeah.
Listen to what I just said. Clinton, 1.4, let's say $1.5 trillion in his 4 years, right? George Bush, his 8 years. George Bush added $6.1 trillion in 2 terms. And sent us into a great recession. He literally sent us into a great recession, right? Jobs hemorrhaging. I don't know if people remember, and they don't want you to remember. You know, conservatives, the RINOs don't want you to remember, especially Fox News. They want to give you their own, they want to create their own narrative. But we were hemorrhaging jobs, and sometimes 300,000 jobs a freaking month. Wow. They carried over into the Obama administration for that first year. Obama, after handling that mess, taking care of the biggest recession in our nation history, and I don't know if people understand how big this was. The average American, we lost $27 trillion. Actually, a little bit more than $27 trillion between job loss, income from job loss, and loss of real estate, loss of houses, homes. Over 13 million people lost their jobs. I think 9 to 11 million people lost their homes. That came.
There was a lot of foreclosures.
Remember
how many foreclosures there were?
I remember $27 trillion, over $27 trillion worth of debt. That's what Barack Obama had to deal with. That's what the Great Recession, right? High job loss and all that other stuff. Now let's get down to Donald J. Trump. Now I told you about Bush at $6.1 trillion, $6 trillion. Get that changed in. Obama, 2 terms, right? 8.3 trillion dollars. Now we're talking about the man. People want to say how economical fiscal, and I'm saying rhinos. These are rhinos from Ronald Reagan, because they talk that fiscal equity stuff, fiscal responsibility, but they don't really engage in it. They don't really conduct themselves in such a way. Here we go. Donald Trump, 4 years, not 2 terms, but 4 years. You ready?
Ready.
$8.2 trillion. Now they want to talk about Biden, right? They want to talk about Biden. Okay. How fiscally responsible Donald Trump was, right? I told you about all the stats that he laid claim to. He was given that the second best economy in the last 54 years. He was given that second best economy, and he tanked it. Joe Biden, after getting back 13 million, well, actually 14 million jobs now, 14 million jobs, taking us out of COVID, taking us to the next level, dropping the inflation down. At one time, I think a few months ago, it was like 9%. It's down to like under 4% now. All this stuff, right? Build back better, everything. Things that every state is benefiting from, right? $1.9 trillion. Go for it. That's how many years? 3 years. $1.9 trillion. That's not even a quarter of what Donald Trump did. Not even a quarter. Okay? And this is almost 4 years. In 3 years, Donald Trump averaged $6 trillion worth of debt to the national debt. He added in 3 years. Yeah, that goes in. Really, let me get that. But that information. But as you see, and that came from what, Newsday? Newsweek. As you see,
USA Today.
USA Today. So as you see, they're a reputable source, right? Still, it's a mainstream media source, but it's just not a liberal media. It's mainstream, and that information is mainstream information. And you heard the numbers. It jumped from Jimmy Carter, $299 billion, to Ronald Reagan, $1.9 trillion. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And these are the rhinos. See how I segue back into that? Those are the rhinos. The Republicans in name only. I gave you examples of what true conservatives were. Who the true conservatives was. The true conservatives were, whether you like them or not, Gerald Ford, Richard Nixon, Eisenhower. Those were the true conservatives. They believed in fiscal responsibility. And they were doing this during wartime. Who was Eisenhower was the Korean War?
Eisenhower Korean War?
Yeah, I think Eisenhower was the Korean War, was he?
No, World War II, I would think.
No, Eisenhower. Eisenhower.
He was because he was president in the late 50s.
No, he's early 60s.
And early 60s, yeah.
Yeah, mid 50s.
Mid 50s
to the early 60s, right before Kennedy.
Right before Kennedy, yeah.
So
you're saying where did he serve?
No, I'm saying as a president, he was president.
Oh, during Korean War.
During the Korean War.
Yeah.
I know Eisenhower was a general.
General, yeah.
He was a 4-star general or something.
The big war, WW2, as Archie Bunker would say.
Okay, so he was in WW2, but he served as president during the Korean War, and these are people that the national debt still didn't blow up. I mean, let me stop using that term. Didn't expand it rapidly, right? But under Ronald Reagan, as soon as Ronald Reagan got over, and he was from the libertarian type of Republican, right? And claiming the fiscal equity, fiscal responsibility, and there's none. He added $1.9 trillion, almost $2 trillion to the national debt. in two terms. That was more than the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 presidents before him. That's crazy. Then George H.W. Bush came in, and like I said, I'm gonna give him a sort of a pass. I am, because and the reason why is because he inherited the Ronald Reagan mess.
True.
He inherited the Ronald Reagan mess. Bill Clinton had to clean it up. Then George Bush came in and he blew it up after they weaponized Congress against Bill Clinton, right? Which really screwed up Al Gore. Besides him not being aggressive enough for me, Al Gore was not aggressive enough. He should have been a lot more aggressive and not take his foot off the gas until he became president. But he didn't, so either neither, whatever you want to say. That old saying that goes along with that. Potatoes, potatoes.
What do you think he never decided to run again?
It was burnt.
Yeah.
He was burnt. After Bush, there was nothing. He no longer had the party.
Yeah.
He no longer had the control of the party. He was doing his own thing, and that's the problem. You got to put 100% in it. Like Obama should be out there touting. Obama should be out there touting Biden's success, being his what do you call it, as his protege, being his protege, as his mentor, because he was the president. I mean, what's a successor called? If somebody does something in Batman and Robin. Like I say, you got Batman. Then
Robin never took over as Batman, so that's a bad comparison.
No, in the modern day, he took over as Nightwing. Yeah. Nightwing. You never did. Nightwing. So.
Oh, that's true, huh?
Yeah. So he did. He takes over. He elevated his game.
Yeah.
So the successor, right? Yeah. So as a successor, Barack Obama should be out there campaigning for Joe Biden.
Well, there's still time.
Yeah, but he should be doing that all the time. I'd be out there all the time. I mean, like they say, presidents should go ahead and die and go away, but that's not true. That's not true. So that's the difference between the RINOs and the real conservative Republicans. And I know real conservative Republicans. I know, and they say the same thing. These guys are not Republicans. And I'm saying, yeah. So why you keep voting for them? why you keep voting for them, right? And they hijacked the Republican Party, but they keep saying, the liberals hijacked the Democratic Party. No, the RINOs hijacked the Republican Party and then start talking about it. Oh, you're not a real Republican. Hold up. These people have been Republicans since 19, for their whole family been Republicans since 1840s, right? Since 1840, since the inception, the start of the Republican Party, they have been Republicans. And you get these whack-offs, these nut jobs, and they're not intelligent. And that's the thing about Republicans. Republicans had a high, when you spoke to them, you could tell they were like, articulate and all that stuff. These guys, they're like morons. Like,
how do you really feel?
Yeah. I'm sugarcoating it. Really, I can't do that. I definitely won't make another season. Like, they put me in the Twilight Zone.
Hey, just so you know, this is a public access station.
Yeah, but you put me in the public access zone.
There's
3 o'clock?
No, you have the right to say whatever you want. You have freedom of speech here. We will never censor you.
Okay.
The only thing we could do is if you started using some foul language, we can
put me in a different zone.
We can put you at a different time.
That's what I'm talking about.
There's nothing you can say. There's pretty much nothing you can say that would get you kicked off.
Okay, I'm not talking about getting kicked off. I was just joking about that.
I know.
But you will put me in the Twilight Zone. And here, since I got that, that green light to go on the 1 minute, when Donald Trump was talking about golden showers, you know what that means? I gotta get out my system. He over here talking about people peeing on him, 4 little hotties peeing on the Russian hotties. So he's like, he was doing it. That's why Melania now, why Melania don't really want. I'm just thinking, man. That's why Melania don't want nothing to do with him no more. Yeah, 4, maybe 1 Donald, but 4 Donald, no. 1. So yeah, Donald, I think you lie. I think you lying, man. Anyway, with that, I be Keith. This be the B-roll. Like I said,
you got 30 seconds.
I got 30 seconds. No, nah, you tell me I got 30 seconds. I got Big JC over here, right? Big John C. We dealing, we hanging. Robbie Rob not up in here. So
He's invisible today.
He's invisible today. And it's me, I be Keith. And thank you for tuning in.